Okay, I'd like to call to order the July 20th meeting of the Madison Fire District. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Adams.
Here.
Mr. Anderson.
Here.
Mr. Donaldson.
Here.
Mr. Gottner.
Here.
Mr. Lee.
Here.
Mr. Wayman.
Here.
Would you all pledge allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving on, the next order of business. Okay, now we all have an echo. The swearing-in ceremony, Madam Legal Beagle, would you please handle the swearing-in?
Yes. If Gregory Struby and Frank Marcelli would please come to the front. Gregory, I'm going to swear you in first, okay? So if you could raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Okay.
I, Gregory Struby,
I, Gregory Struby,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws of the United States
and will obey the laws of the United States
and the state of Ohio,
and the state of Ohio,
that I will,
in
in all respects,
all respects,
observe the resolutions and policies
observe the resolutions and policies
of the Madison Fire District
of the Madison Fire District
and will faithfully,
and will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially discharge
and impartially discharge
the duties of full-time firefighter paramedic.
the duties of full-time firefighter paramedic.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Do that later?
Nope, right now. Okay, thank you. My friend, you ready? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Frank Marcelli,
I, Frank Marcelli,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and obey the laws of the United States
and obey the laws of the United States
and the state of Ohio,
and the state of Ohio,
that I will,
that I will,
in all respects,
in all respects,
observe the resolutions and policies
observe the resolutions and policies
of the Madison Fire District
of the Madison Fire District
and will faithfully,
and will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially discharge
and impartially discharge
the duties of part-time firefighter EMT.
the duties of part-time firefighter EMT.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Congratulations. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Bye.
Congratulations. Okay, I'm sure everybody on the board wants to welcome these two individuals to the Madison Fire District and hope that we have a very long and prosperous tenure of duty. Thanks again. Okay, Madam Legal Director, since we don't have anyone representing the Benedict Insurance Agent, do you want to put off going over the VFIS coverage as stated in this letter until after new business?
You can do that, Mr. Chairman. I mean, since there's no presentation by Mike Gehring or Aaron Jocelyn, then you already have it on your agenda for under new business, so
Okay.
that's proper.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda is the minutes of the June 15th meeting. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I so move to approve those minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Gehring.
Gottner.
No.
Got the G right.
Got the G right.
Well, let me
Sorry,
tell you about
Miss-
insurance.
Thank you very much, Ken.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, if there's no changes, additions, corrections, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Adams.
Abstain.
Mr. Anderson. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Gontner,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson, Mr. Wayman.
Yes.
Okay, the minutes have been accepted as presented. Next item on the agenda is our bills and payroll. Madam Financial Wizard?
Our June bills total was $53,302.66. Our payroll was $229,841.27 for a total of $283,143.93.
Are there any questions of the financial officer?
On here, I think it says June 2021.
Whoops. Thank you, Mr. Adams. Any other questions?
Yeah, wait,
Issues?
just one quick question. Joanne, do we have do we not make a payment, and do we have one coming up in July or no, for building, or is that?
We did that in May.
In
We
May.
did that in May because it was due June 1st.
Okay, that was done then, okay.
Any other questions, comments? I'll entertain a motion to pay the bills and payroll.
Oh, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wayman. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Gontner,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson,
Yes.
Mr. Wayman,
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Next is the June 2022 financial report.
Okay, I'm going to read off the fund summary report for the June, and we started June with $6,499,191.14. Our month-to-date revenue was $58,520.83. Our year-to-date revenue is $2,448,746.01. Again, our month-to-date expenditures was $283,143.93. Our year-to-date expenditures is $1,600,308.94. So we're starting June with $6,274,568.04.
Are there any questions or comments to the fiscal officer? Okay. Thank you, Joanne. We'll now open the public portion of our meeting. If there's any comments, questions, or issues that someone would like to address, if you please be recognized, state your name, address, and you'll have 5 minutes to state your case. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Moving on. Legal counsel.
Okay, just to update the board on a couple of things regarding the CASC 307 matter. We have been in discussions basically to try and reach a compromise. We did agree to extend the briefing schedule to allow us additional time to accommodate that request. We received a proposal, we responded to it. I did receive contact from opposing counsel today, but I was in court all day out in Ashtabula County. So I will try and circle back and touch base with him this week, but nothing formal to report in that regard. The only other thing is on the outstanding workers' comp VSSR claim that we have. Joanne and I did have a telephone conference with legal counsel Ermish. He updated us regarding the status. He's in the process of going back to opposing counsel and trying to get demands and settlement parameters. So I'm just giving the board a heads up that I would anticipate in the next coming months to, seek an executive session and potentially discuss some settlement authority to be able to give to legal counsel. But other than that, the resolutions that I was asked to prepare are all contained under new business, and so unless the board has anything for me, then that's the end of my report.
Any questions of legal counsel? Thank you, Ms. Dane.
Thank you.
Moving on, old business, Station 2 renovation, Captain, and then Mr. Gottner.
Sure.
Have at it.
Chief Baker and I believe Lieutenant Henry met with them last Friday, Mr. DeLuca from CT, to go over the progress of the station since it had kind of stalled for a little bit there. They lit a fire, there's some things moving on down there. The Township Road Department was able to install some drain towel for the downspouts. I'm sure you gentlemen are aware of that. They did a really nice job down there, and it's gonna be a plus to divert all the water away from the building, so we don't have those ice buildups, like we've had in the past. The prep work's all done for that. The change order has been received from Metis, I believe, and this will be presented under the new business. As far as your approval for the paving and to allow Titan to take over from there. But, if Mr. Gautner wants to add anything to that, there wasn't much notes from other meeting.
Yeah, I too sat in a meeting, was at that meeting with the chief and Lieutenant Henry last Friday. We met with CT's the architect representative, Chris DeLuca, and I forget Gary's last name, he from Metis. Metis had kind of, I won't say they walked away, but they just weren't getting their subs back on the job to finish up some punch list items that really needed to be addressed. They are now doing that. They had some people there when I was there last week, and I guess they've done some more. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, we're meeting, there's gonna be a meeting with Captain Meister, myself, and Chris DeLuca from CT, and the gentleman from Metis, and we're basically saying, you've gotta get this job done. If not, we're gonna start moving on the liquidated damages portion of the contract. Originally, they were supposed to be done by March 31st, but we allowed that to be extended because of supply chain issues, which everybody's suffering from. But now there's no excuse that they don't have it done. And the guys are sleeping in the various rooms in there now. Looks like, I mean, I think it looks pretty good. They're not big rooms, I'll tell you that. You go in there, you sleep, basically, is what you do. But if you get a chance to go down there, I think it worked out really well. We just can't hire anybody over 7 foot tall. But other than that, and I'm not kidding. You better not be over 7 foot tall. You ain't sleeping in that room. But it looks pretty good, and I mean, for the amount of money. They also, when I was there, the plumber was there last week hooking up the washer and dryer. I trust, Captain, those have now been hooked up so the guys can do their clothes and stuff.
They are laundering as we speak.
Good, that was an issue, and as I explained to the gentleman from Metis, this is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year operation. It's not, 9 to 5, 5 days a week, so I think he got the message, and I hope tomorrow we'll have a date from them as to when they exactly expect to be totally done. And that change order it's a deduct change order on the asphalt. Metis, it was originally Metis's contract to do the asphalt paving. And that was just for an area right around the building where the building was put in. And the whole asphalt area in the back parking lot and the sides was really bad. It's all alligatored. So the chief went out and got prices from another asphalt contractor, and this will actually should be a deduct change order. I forget the exact amount. It's like 16,000.
10,390.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a deduct from Metis's actual contract, and that money will be put towards the asphalt paving.
Any other questions or comments to Ken or the captain?
Ken, is that paving supposed to be done at the end of July?
I believe so. I thought the chief was trying to get it done here in.
Something by the 22nd or something.
Yeah, I believe, and Captain, you said they were out there today, so.
They were there today, they did a lot of the prep work.
So, yeah.
All the fill and the tamping, and I believe they're gonna be back shortly to
Says July.
place it. That's all correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Did you have a question, Dan?
Oh, okay.
Well, I do have a question.
Oh,
Yes.
Well, it's not under this
Oh.
motion. Just looking at the resolution, I don't see where we're authorizing Titan,
We did that at the last meeting.
because so we've got a $10,000 deduct, and then Titan is paid by Metis.
Right.
No,
Yep.
no, we
No.
entered into a separate contract
Contract.
with Titan,
Otherwise, ours
Oh.
only 10,000.
because that's what was projected in our original contract. It was like 16,000 the total, and then in that change order, there's also a couple things like light bars and there was something else in there
But-
that
The scope-
adjusted that figure to,
Yeah, the scope was
Scope of
gone
asphalt
to
work
cover
is
more asphalt.
Yeah, exactly.
correct.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot bigger scope, Dan, than originally.
$40,000 bigger job.
Yeah, as Stacy said, the deduct also, they had to add some lights in the bathroom, which took
Yeah.
away from the deduct that we could, I think it was 16,000 originally. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, moving on to new business. We have a request on behalf of the Richmond and Richmond Insurance Company to provide, or to become our insurance broker. Gentlemen, you have the floor.
So we're here representing Richmond Insurance, which of course we take care of Madison Township and several other townships throughout the area. Over 20 years, we've been representing the local municipalities in the area for their insurance needs. A couple months ago, we dropped off a letter. By now, I'm sure you understand, Mike Gehring is retiring and has sold his agency off to an Akron-based agency. I think maybe you guys even met the new guy from Ashtabula.
Right.
So, with that in mind, we've all, all the municipalities have typically dealt locally with local agents. So they had representation that people that went by the stations every day or once a day or whatever. So with that, we also represent VFIS in our office. And we were asking you to obtain a signature from the chairman to have us represent you from Richmond Insurance to VFIS. It's a
Okay.
simple signature, and we become your agents, and we can take care of you.
Okay, then, are we gonna get another letter on their stationery that states this, or?
Once we get the signature, we send it off to VFIS. Once they approve it, then we will be able to get any documents that Mr. Gehring has.
Right.
It will be sent over to us.
Okay, are we gonna, since the quote here was effective August 1st, are we gonna have a coverage issue?
No, sir. Your coverage will not stop. All we are is becoming the agent. The company itself is renewing the policy as is.
Okay,
All you're gonna tell that company is you now want to be represented by Richmond Insurance.
From a legal standpoint, unless we take action for a renewal and approve a renewal, our old policy expires at the end of this month.
Right.
So I disagree slightly with Mr. Richmond, just from the standpoint that we have to take action before August 1st on a new policy, whether that's with, Gehring Benedict, or whether it's with Richmond and Richmond. I still think that the board has to take action for a renewal on BFIS.
Absolutely. I mean, if you have a payment due, if you have an app to sign or whatever, then yes, please do it.
We're renewing tonight,
Okay.
a new policy.
Yeah.
All right.
So just a point of order of,
Right.
so we are technically
We have a
We are-
quote presented.
we are entering into a new contract with Gehring tonight and asking them to transfer it
That,
2 motions down the list
right, unless we have a
in the next
quote,
month. And how that
right.
works on the backside is between you and BFI and Gehring.
I believe you're entering into a contract with VFIS.
Yes.
Not
Gehring,
Gehring's.
with Gehring.
They're just representing VFIS.
And the only thing the agent of record does is change the agency, nothing about that contract. And a little reminder to most of the board, for years and years, you have seen Peter or I and Mike Gehring working together.
Right.
With that change of ownership, with Gehring to Benedict, a couple of things changed. Now with Mike retiring and Benedict is sold to an Akron agency, that's why we're here. And that you all would want to still keep things on a local level.
until you sign this document.
What we need to do is just change the agent of record, Dan, so
Right.
that's the only thing that would change, and then nothing
That's not gonna
changes.
happen until after we're already in our contract.
No, we need to name them, if we're gonna name Richmond and Richmond, we need to name them agent of record tonight to take
Tonight,
over.
tonight.
As quickly as possible,
Yeah.
because the transaction will take time.
Yes.
And then, I think we have to maybe amend 2214 to say that we're going to approve a contract renewal with VFIS.
That's what the resolution currently provides,
Right.
and then it's referencing the quotes because we're approving that payment structure and those premium costs.
Okay.
And so I guess that would be my question to Richmond and Richmond, is that going to stay the same? Are the premium costs gonna stay the same if we do a change?
Exactly the same. Again, all you're doing is letting the VFIS know that we are going to represent you in Madison Fire District.
Okay, so,
So no, I just have one question on the payment to make sure.
no, go ahead.
So right now I make the payment out to Insurance Partnership, our Partners Agency LLC. That's who I send the check to when it renews. So will it be coming to you instead? Would it be coming, if they chose to go with you?
I would
Will I
send it
still-
to insurance partners at this moment.
Right.
Okay,
But that's very interesting that you're sending the check directly to them. You'd think you'd be sending it directly to VFIS.
no, that's the reason I wanted to ask the question, to make
Yeah.
sure, so we didn't have the lapse in insurance going.
Yeah, this will just happen in the background.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
make a motion to name Richmond and Richmond as the agent of record for Madison Fire District to represent us with VFIS.
I'll second.
Okay, so, Stacy, do we have to have a resolution number for this?
No.
No, okay. So we have a motion by Mr. Gautner and a second by Mr. Anderson.
Gearing, whatever you want to call me. I don't care.
Oh, Max, I'm sorry. Of appointing Richmond and Richmond as our agent of record. Any discussion, questions? Whatever. Okay, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Gautner.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson. Mr. Wayman.
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Thank you, Board.
Okay. Do you have the document that, here with you, Peter, for Bob to
Mr. Lee,
sign?
do you have the document in front of you? Or if not, I brought a copy with me.
Okay, which document?
The one that says agent broker letter, Mr. Baker was supposed to give you a copy.
I believe it's on
No.
the chief's desk.
I'm sorry?
I believe it's on Chief Baker's desk.
Chief Baker's desk, okay.
Right there, you know. If I could have you sign and read that, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Let you.
Yeah,
All right.
Bob's just signing away. That's all right.
Hey, I'm beginning to feel like Joe.
Yeah. Just keep on signing.
So if I suddenly call you Harold,
That's my real name.
you hit me, say, no, Joe, it's Jay.
It's fine.
It's fine, I can sign it.
You're not giving away anything.
Okay.
Still signing them too.
What? They were supposed to tap into his chimney.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna read that fine print on there, so.
Just in question on station.
You probably should make a
two,
copy of
you
that.
are setting fires there.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm just joking.
20.
You're lighting fires, wherever you're sitting, and they were laundering down there too?
So to speak, yes. Probably should have clarified that.
I was like,
You're gonna make a copy for us?
fires there.
Good idea.
Okay, Captain, it's just a mischaracterization of
This-
what you said.
Okay.
Well, actually,
Where's it
that's a
start
good
now?
question. I guess, Peter, do you guys take over as agent of record immediately or on August 1st?
No, it has to be accepted by VFIS.
Okay.
So I'll fax it over to them tomorrow.
It
and
could
start
happen
that
2 months
process.
from now.
Correct.
You could, yes.
Really?
And what would happen is we would just be working
guys work for free for us.
Oh, you get paid.
Okay. Any other comments or questions or whatever discussion with regard to Mr. Richmond and Mr. Richmond?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to say, we've used this agency for
Many years.
25 years or more at the township, a
least.
long time, maybe even
Goes
longer.
back before Gary Bucky, how far back?
Wow.
Yeah, that's 40-some years.
40-some
I
years.
know you were there, Pete, in the 80s when I was the administrator, so it's a long time.
I had the pleasure with Bob Gardner as president of the board, telling him his insurance went from 20 grand to 45,000 when they changed the law.
I remember that.
Oh, boy, did he have me for lunch.
That was, that's when the
It's all my fault.
that's when the sovereign immunity law changed
That's
back in the
right.
80s.
Yep.
Oh, I was there, I remember that, the sovereign immunity changed in, I remember. Yeah, things
Okay,
happened.
thank you much, Board. Can we move on to Resolution 2213?
Yes, we can.
Yes, this is resolution number 22-13. It's a resolution hiring Gregory Strube to the position of full-time firefighter paramedic, grade 5 with the Madison Fire District.
What is the Board's pleasure?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman, on 2213.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Gautner. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Gautner.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson.
Yes.
Mr. Wayman.
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you much. Now you're really official. Okay, moving on. Resolution 2214 to approve the VFIS property casualty renewal effective August 1st.
Madam?
Resolution number 22-14, a resolution authorizing renewal of the district insurance plan for VFIS property and casualty insurance coverage as recommended for the upcoming insurance year and authorizing payments under said plan. There is an Exhibit A attached, which basically is the quote from Gary Benedict outlining the difference in premium cost, which, just to be clear, the annual premium is $44,655, and it's an increase over the expiring policy in the amount of $1,845. I prepared an additional draft of Resolution 22-14, because in that correspondence from Mr. Gehring, there were some options and different alternatives for the board's consideration. And so that would amount to an annual premium amount of $46,237, which would be an increase over our expiring policy of $3,427. So I don't know which one the board wants to adopt, but I have them both for you in case the board wanted to go either direction.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Dane. Oh, what's the primary difference between the two options?
In that quote, the original policy, I believe, just kept things the same, and then he has in there about halfway down as an additional option, in order to keep up with the increasing cost to replace with brand-new models, we would increase the following agreed values.
Right.
And it lists the pumper trucks, the ambulances, and that's what would create the additional premium.
Okay, so that raised the premium by $1,582 to $46,237.
Yeah, 1,582 in addition to the already increase of the 1,845.
Right. Okay. Board, then we have, I guess, option 2, where we've updated our equipment to a higher replacement cost. What's the board's pleasure, unless there's comments, questions, discussion?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, it only makes sense to do that. I was looking at Mike's letter here, and it talks about, you know, the fact that we put an addition on Station 2, and
Yep.
that adds some premium cost as well. So you obviously don't want to build that addition without doing that, and you want to make sure that those vehicles are properly insured. So I would think it's in the fire district's best interest to take the quote of $46,237.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gottner. Any other comments?
I'd just say that I would agree with Mr. Gardner's assessment of it.
Thank you, Mr. Wayman. Anyone else? Okay, what's the board's pleasure on option 2 of 2214?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
I'll second.
The amendment?
Yes,
Yeah,
option
yeah.
2 as amended.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, J and Max. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson.
Yes.
Mr. Wayman.
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Gontner.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Next item is Resolution 2215, the approval of the Metis change order.
Resolution number 22-15, this is a resolution approving change order number CO-001 with Metis Construction Services LLC and CT Consultants, Inc. for the project involving the renovation of Station 2 of the Madison Fire District located at 1743 Hubbard Road, Madison, Ohio, decreasing the total contract amount by $10,399.28 to a new contract sum of $332,341.72 and extending the date of substantial completion to July 15th, 2022. Exhibit A is attached, which is the change order document. It's already been signed by both CT Consultants and Metis Construction Services, and it documents the changes that are made, which includes that removal of the asphalt work, and then also the additional of those other items regarding the power updates and vanity lights and that sort of thing. And it does have in there the extension of the substantial completion.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Chairman, I move to adopt Resolution 22-15.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gottner. A second? Thank you, Mr. Donaldson. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Donaldson.
Yes.
Mr. Wayman.
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Gontner.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes. Thank you, Board. Moving on, Resolution 2216.
Resolution number 22-16 is the resolution recognizing Charles Barnacote for his years of service to the Madison Fire District. Just so the board's aware, he completed 30 years of service.
I'll make,
Mr. Anderson?
yes.
Oh, you're making the motion, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Wayman.
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Gontner.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Moving on to 2217.
This is resolution number 22-17. It's a resolution declaring certain equipment owned by the Madison Fire District as surplus, not needed for public purpose, obsolete, unfit for the use for which it was acquired, and authorizing the disposal thereof. This was addressed at the last meeting by Chief Baker. It involves the 24-foot smoke trailer. It was originally donated to the Madison Fire District by the Perry Fire District. It's no longer needed for our purpose. He indicates it doesn't have any value. It does contain some mold, but Harpersville Fire Department has asked that we transfer it to them, so we've indicated that we would donate it to them.
Okay? What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution 22-17.
Thank you, Mr. Wayman. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Gontner.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson.
Yes.
Mr. Wayman.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. That takes us to the end of the new business that's published on the agenda. Is there any new business that is not published on the agenda? Okay, moving on. Chief's report. Captain?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before anyone leaves tonight, and I meant to do it earlier, but we have some cake for the swearing in folks. If you'd like to stay and have some, you're welcome to do that. I'll start off with the anniversaries. Captain Terry Sopko just passed his 34th year. Dustin Sample, firefighter Dustin Sample's been here for 22 years. Of course, we hired the two swearing-ins, firefighter Greg Struby and firefighter Frank Marcelli, who was kind of a makeup swearing in there. The budget year to date is good. We've collected 60% of our projected EMS revenue, and according to Medi-Count, we continue to have the highest reimbursement in the county for those that use Medi-Count for their EMS billing, which is a good attributed to the quality of work that the folks are doing on the street there with EMS reports. Volume year to date, Chief has 1,800 in here. I believe we just passed 1,900, so we're up about 10% this year from last year. So it seems to keep trending up every year, which we're not surprised. We had an incident involving a lawnmower and a passing vehicle. Not sure if you guys were aware. That's been turned over to the insurance. I believe they were mowing out front and spit up some rocks, and unfortunately someone was driving by and poured the work for that. Vehicle PMs, it continues. We're almost all the way through the PM cycle for this time of year. A lot of the ambulances are obviously getting old, as we know that the timeline for new stuff keeps getting pushed out, so the sooner the better with that, but we're getting those back in service. Good news, we received a VIN for our new squad, ordered the first one, not the second one, of course. So that one is scheduled to be built. Ford E450, the gas engine on the chassis will be built in September. It'll be finished by October, then it'll be shipped to the ambulance builder for about a 200-day build. So we're looking to have that maybe first quarter, maybe by April of next year, so that's good news. Chief and I have been working with local nursing homes, private ambulances, since our call volume is up at those places. The meeting was supposed to happen today. They rescheduled it for next Wednesday, so hopefully all the stakeholders in that meeting will get together via Zoom and with doctors and staff at the facilities, and hopefully hammer out some details and come up with a solution for the volume at those places to lessen the impact on our fire department and ED. Station 2 project moving forward, hopefully completed by month's end. The paving project, as we talked about, is supposed to be completed by the 22nd, which would be Friday. Fingers crossed. And I believe that should conclude my report. You guys have any questions?
Thank you, Chief, or Captain. Any questions of the captain?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I could.
Yes.
Captain Meister, the one vehicle that had the engine problem, had to take the heads off of and redo, is that back online yet, or are they still working on that?
That is back in service. It's been back for a little while, and it seems to be doing fine at the moment.
That was an engine, right? Correct.
That was the engine, yeah. I believe we had
okay.
spark plug blow out the top of it and everything, so it was a significant damage. Yeah.
Okay,
So it's back.
great, okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Captain. Moving on to closing public comments. If anyone wishes to address the board, raise your hand, be recognized. Is there anyone out there in the Ethernet? I guess not. Okay, thank you. Any board comments? Is there any reason for the board to adjourn into executive session? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:39.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gautner. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Donaldson? Mr. Wayman?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Gautner?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thanks for not kicking me.
Thanks for
Trying to get my
behaving
best
yourself.
behavior.
Yeah, did a good job.
This should be.
Hey.
Yeah.